Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we are back to Cuphead. Yeah, for a second there, I forgot the name. There is a issue, certainly, with this game that I think maybe people have chosen to kind of ignore. Let's go ahead and try Tree Trouble, even though I couldn't, in the last recording, beat the other running gun. Interesting that the 8-way directionality on this seems fairly difficult, and then you have to know which ones to hit, which ones not to hit, and then you're trying something like that, and that didn't get me any further. It's been a while since I played, in the sense, oh yeah, you're aiming completely with the left stick, which that's the weirdness of this, I guess, is you're not aiming your gun in a way that would kind of also be coordinated with the right stick. And see, I think that's part of the problem here, is that I feel like some people were too quick to potentially defend this game and not be as critical as you probably should have been with it, and it has left a scenario here where there is some problems with this control scheme by default, and there is, I think that's your only opportunity to get that one. There is a problem, I feel like, with the level of difficulty in the game, and you run into the scenario where a lot of people are gonna just get ignored when they say, no, this game actually is too hard. You can pretty much dash whenever you want. See, that got me about halfway through, but I think there is a legitimate argument to be said here that the run and gun modes should have a simple mode where you potentially, and that, I guess that would be an example of where you would need to actually stop shooting if you're trying to actually hit the bounce things, and you can really only take like one hit. See, that just got me like a little bit further. So you're in this weird position where you can't get to that area, but maybe I can do this final battle and I can at least get to the end of World 1. Alright. So, there's something I think about the hands. So, you can't really hit them when they're on the ground. And there's like 3, even in the simpler version, there's something here. Yeah, and you gotta pretty much take these guys out with your standard attack. I feel like the upgrades are kind of BS in the sense that they don't really matter. They don't help you really. Not to a level where it kind of matters. I'm trying desperately to hit that. See, I also feel like there are some things that look like they're, they just look like they're pink, and yet they're not really pink. Or there's just a level of difficulty that is so high on hitting the things that are pink that it's not really doable. See, blue, 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 blue. And then there's one pink. We've just got all kinds of garbage flying around now. All kinds of things that are gonna get in the way. We have like a plant up there that's. Let's see, we were very, very close to the winning scenario there. But I kind of can't do anything as far as increasing my health, where it feels like after a certain number of failures, it should just say, hey, I'm going to take pity on you, I'm going to give you extra health, I'm going to let you punk out on this, for lack of a better term. Like, I cannot hit that. They are either so small. Like, I was right on top of it and it still didn't work. And then it seems like those particles can't be destroyed, which there's an inconsistency here as far as what can be shot, what can't be shot. And so you're almost guaranteed that you're not going to ever be able to do anything right on the first try, which that's not modern game design by any means. Like modern games, it's fairly common to be able to figure out and defeat a boss on the first attempt. And well, I could have won there actually, had I just used my superpower attack, which I should use a lot faster because there's, oh yeah, and I can attack upward when he decides to attack me, so I should just do something like that whenever I am even close. Still not capable of hitting that. So you have to beat every boss effectively the first time on simple just to understand the basics of what the mechanics of this would be. And then your super attack knocks you back, so you can't actually in this scenario do a super attack in a row. See, that got him to a second phase already. I'll try and clean up everything. And then we need to also keep an eye in the lower left-hand corner, where it probably would be better if there was an indicator directly on our character, because that's what you're looking at the most. Like you're keeping your eye up clear, sort of, so that you can see the enemy, but you're mostly trying to look at an appearance generally around your character so that you can dodge bullets. And see, that was a C, and we got as high as a B+, and I feel like the boss fights will just get longer and bigger. So here's the door to the next thing, the die house. And let's see what he says. Well, look what the cat dragged in. You think you're just gonna ankle over to the next aisle? Well, that ain't how it works, geniuses. You mugs ain't going nowhere till you finish up here. That means giving them debtors their medicine, all of them. Now scram. And see, you have this interesting music in the background. Again, very jazzy. You could sit here and just listen to all of this, and we could try and just take him out now, and it doesn't work. Let's see, unless there's a secret little passage over this direction, then if we look at the list, there's one more boss somewhere around here, and it may be that we just have to defeat this guy on regular, but we just beat this guy, so how much more difficult can it be now on normal mode? And the answer is probably very difficult, because you can see he's going for a different art style. And I almost got messed up pretty badly there. See, I think the brain is probably the only opportunity to do hits and parries. And so this might be the first instance of the game specifically making it impossible for you to. I might as well do this as it is, because I don't have any super attack. So until I unlock a super attack, there's no point in doing that. I'd also say that you have a potential here of the way it reloads not being quite fast enough, like for the game that it's offering. Yeah. There definitely are some tricks and some improvements that I feel like should be added in the expansion and in an update. Like another controller layout by default, an easier mode, a better orientation of the color graphics with less things that look like they're pink, because there's a, like, I don't think I'm colorblind. If anything, I'm fairly certain I'm not. But there definitely in this game are some things that look pinkish but are not the right shade of pink, and in the effort of trying to focus on not dying, it's really hard to tell the difference. And that's a palette choice. That's a game design choice that could easily have been fixed. And see, I just got messed up because the flying thing above me was right in my way. With the more randomizations, with the higher chances of just running into something. I'm not even hitting that. I don't know why that would be the case. And there might be a good argument to, like, might be a good argument not to just leave the final attacks at the final attacks. And see, I could potentially get to something like this and see if this would do more damage. Oops, that was a waste. But yeah, you get back to this part and you're gonna get wrecked. Yeah. So the backward shots are more powerful, but harder to control and take more targeting. They are definitely what you would want an expert if you're doing an expert like attempt at a speedrun on this. But an average person just trying to survive is almost certainly not going to be able to focus on all of that. And it's just so easy to get hit 3 times. And it runs into a scenario that people won't want to admit, where the reason why you're succeeding, or why anybody is succeeding, or the average player is succeeding here, is that they're just straight up getting lucky. And nobody wants to admit that it isn't skill, that it's actually just luck. But I, as a critic, have to be a little bit honest here. If I do succeed here, it is probably going to be in part because of luck, if in a larger part than I would like to admit. And I can't help but feel like there's kind of a less than accurate depiction here of how close you are towards the end. I was gonna try and see if I could do some major damage there, and it didn't work. So you can basically just stand in one place for a while. Oh yeah, I forgot you could jump down if you were pushing down. So how close were we? Still not that close. It feels like you can possibly trigger some higher last phase attacks if you do a lot of damage really early. And I think there's, to a certain extent, a level of the amount of damage you do with a super attack potentially increasing your return as far as the magic gauge. And of course I could also cop out and say nobody who is talking and criticizing a game is going to do particularly well with the game. So this could be a series that, if I was just going to be really insistent on trying to beat all the bosses, I could play a lot of it off screen, and in all fairness I might do that, but I don't think I'd do that as a answer to making a full series here. So let's take a break. And let's think about this. We haven't defeated that one in full either. And I'm not reading this. So kind of a tip there. And then you have this secret passage that it brings you back here. But if you can't do the treetops, and you can't do this section, you don't get any new coins. I don't think at all. Oh, we haven't done this one on simple. So, let's try this one.
This match will get red hot.
There's kind of a major section that is missing when you do this on simple. And this other guy's, this other frog is just shooting out little fire frogs. I'm seeing a double. Alright, that was a full load of 5 charge. And he's about to wreck me. Now they're on the other side. And then I died. So yeah, we were almost to the end there on the first try, which I think does kind of point towards just a high level of how easy it is to potentially do some of these early characters. And then I got an achievement, by the way, for doing, I think, 3 parries in a row, or doing 3 parries in a row many times. So, alright. And there we go. So that's them on simple. And yeah, if you could kind of combine all these scores, so you get an HP bonus on one run, and then that adds to getting the bonus for the time bonus, and the parry bonus, and the super meter bonus, that'd be great. But it's not that. You have to literally get so good at the game that you absolutely are then capable of doing everything perfectly to get a perfect score. And yeah, there's still no other way here if you can't do the levels. But if we look here, we've done all the bosses. So let's talk to this character. Begone, spirits. Oh wait, you're real. I was about to hit you with the old parry move. That's how you deal with ghosts around here. Only a nitwit tries shooting something who ain't really there. Speaking of not being places, would your fellas mind moving on? You're spooking the fish. So we get a hint here, and then there's this whole mausoleum third section to the game. We kind of don't have enough horror cartoons anymore. They seem unwilling to make anything that is even slightly spooky for kids anymore, and at best you get something that is cartoonishly comedic with spooky things, spooky characters that aren't really that spooky. And so this is a third gameplay style, which again, I feel like in the boss rush, man, I was almost there. Since this was originally just going to be a boss rush game, They ran into a problem, definitely, where the expectations from what people thought this game was versus what I think they really could create were fairly off. And I think Microsoft came in, if I'm recalling correctly, I'm fairly certain somebody came in and gave some technical help and some funding to Studio Madhead so they could actually like reach and make a game that was reaching the expectations, which were getting dangerously larger and larger. So, gosh, I didn't know how to thank you boys for saving me. So this character, or a character like this, is the third character I think they're adding to the DLC. I don't know if you actually can play as her, or if you just have a story that centers around her. Where are my manners? I didn't even introduce myself. I'm known as the legendary Chalice. Pleased to meet you. I'm searching for magic and got trapped by those ghosts. I was searching for magic. Speaking of magic, please accept this gift. It should help. There are other mausoleums around the Inkwell Island. I just wonder. So that's destroyed. And we now have our superpower. Dear me, I mustn't forget that magical super arts have been equipped in the menu before use. You mustn't forget. So then they make you go to them. So, Energy Beam. A devastating attack spills from your head horizontally, only ground or air. Okay. And you can't go back and do that again. Although, it would be questionable why you specifically would want to go back and do it again, but I guess you can. Let's go ahead and take on these guys now that we have a super beam. Right. This is mostly just going to be about, can I parry when they're firing twice as many things at me? Is my super beam going to help me if I can get the super beam up? Alright. There we go. And that got me to the halfway point.
A brawl is surely brewing. Now go!
It is slight questionable. I guess you have to move forward if you want to do this. Whether a super beam actually does more damage than other kinds of attacks, or 5 of the regular charged attacks.
A brawl is surely brewing. It's on!
It feels like you could fairly easily have had some dialogue here too. Like, it seems kind of lazy to just start with a fight. Even a 1930s cartoon, I don't think would have actually not bothered to have at least a little bit of pantomime or something. Man, it is just so easy to make the wrong choice, and 3 mistakes is just kind of nothing. Probably is easier just to try and avoid any contact at all. Oh, that he moved so slow there.
A great slam and then some. Now go.
And see, I don't think there's really a charm that increases your damage, which again on easy mode you would think there should be some kind of item that would do that. I could see even having this whole game be an XP based game where after doing enough game you would just get a level up on your character. There we go. And we'll just try to avoid getting hit, and we'll use a reversible attack here. Let's see, now he's gonna roll into this, and this is the third thing, and you have to hit that when it's in the slot machine, and then the slot machine is gonna choose a randomized attack. This is kind of the first boss where you really start running into a scenario where it is very designed around the idea of saving up for a rainy day. And yeah, my fingers just don't work the way they used to, or at least the way I think they used to. I bet I probably fairly well sucked even back then in the old days. And like, if I had honest memories of half of the like NES games that I played, I would imagine there is probably a lot of them that I didn't actually finish, didn't actually beat. This is actually a very good point to do this, and then let's see. Here we have a lion. Where? Yeah. How far did that get me? Not as far as I would have thought, so I probably should have used the sprint. So we've on regular beaten 2 characters, and on simple we've beaten the rest of them. Let's see if that's enough to let us get to the next area, or if we have to truly beat them all. Well, ain't that a pip. Looks like you boys really put the kibosh on them deaders. You can head on over to the next aisle. Plenty more marks for you to lean on there. So it doesn't quite screw you here, but it does screw you at the very end when it says, no, you have to have beaten everybody on normal. And it's not like you even get like the bad ending, but you get to fight the last 2 boss battles. It's just you can't fight the last 2 boss battles. Guys, hang on. Thank the stars I caught up with you. I believe I found a way out of this mess you're in. Hot dog. You have? Your strength is growing. You'll soon be a match for that no-good King Dice, and maybe even the devil himself. These kids? Golly, do you really think? I do, but you'll never get close to the devil unless you already have those souls contracts in hand. Only then will you get a chance to turn the tables on that fiend. So when the time comes, do the right thing. So there's like a single decision that he's hinting at the end of the game there, to do the right thing. That being said, let me suggest a better suggestion here. Why not work with the demon, the debtors, and pretend like you're bringing them all in and you have all their soul contracts, and then have the entire group of them all attack at once against the devil. Like, because let's face it, these other characters probably don't want to take down the devil too. Through all your battles and all my rhymes, you have failed and perished 52 times. Okay, so thanks for that. So maybe there's some weird achievement for not dying once at all. Honestly, I think even speedrunners would have a hard time pulling that trick off. Whoever heard of a barbershop trio? If we can't find our fourth member, we'll never sound right again. Be a pal and let us know if you spot him, won't you? And so there's a gate here. There's a boss battle here. There's a boss battle here. Good timing, fellas. I just added an upgrade to your airplanes. You can now wall up foes with bombs. Just switch your weapon whenever you strike your fancy. Try it out. The airplane's now equipped with mini bombs. Switch your weapon anytime during battle. So theoretically, now if I was to go back to the other area, I now have an upgrade. Let's just try all of these. Though this is one of the most extremely varied battles, in the sense that there's just a lot going on, and you're literally having to fight this giant jawbreaker, because nothing over there where the castle is and where the princess is, which these princesses in the castle, they're not taking any damage at all. So it's just a whole bunch of running and dashing and using this platform to get to that point. And that just took like forever. And that was the first attack. Now we have a different kind of attack with a candy corn. And I'm probably doing a terrible job actually hurting the guy. Although, in all fairness, see, I don't know if those little tiny jelly beans are once again something you can parry on or not. Honestly, I feel like a game like this could just be a score game, in the sense that you could fairly easily simply just have the every time you die lower the score. Man, that took considerably less time. And I don't know how you even are supposed to get away from that. And there are maybe some hints being shown as far as what might be the secret passage to beating some of these enemies, but remember, this is supposed to be on the simple, so you have to get over here and then just stay up at the top, because if you try to do anything else, you're doomed. And you kind of are better just to stay up top. Alright. Now she's attacking. What about this? Man, I keep hitting the wrong button. And how close were we really towards the end there? Not great.
A brawl is surely brewing. You're up.
Also, is this supposed to be Marie Antoinette let them eat cake as a concept? I think maybe it is. I dashed the wrong direction there. Even on simplistic, you've got a major issue here. Maybe some of these little pink guys are supposed to be something that you attack for large amounts of thing. And then that was kind of like a weird example of something that was still on the screen but was not actually going to hurt you. And there's kind of just a level of inconsistency there with that. Man.
This match will get red hot. And begin.
I feel like I both lucked out in buying the reverse attack, but also have set myself up for a point here where I'm just gonna not be able to go any further. Like, cause I totally need a higher amount of health. One more health, one more hit would be so helpful in a lot of scenarios here. I guess when it's doing that little explosion, I'm assuming none of that would really hurt me. Trying really hard here.
This match will get red hot. Now go.
But we also are running into the problem of my fingers starting to hurt, and this is gonna create a feedback loop of, oh, I have to take an hour break in between every hour episode, which means I've just doubled the amount of time I have to spend on recording videos, which is not something I enjoy doing by any means. There's probably a great argument I should spend lots more hours in post-production on my videos, but I'm just not in the business or interested in being in the business of being a post-production editor. And it's fairly obvious the trick here is to stay on this green thing as much as possible. Alright, here we go. But they've got it set so that alone, one super attack, is not strong enough to win. Where it feels like on simple mode, it should be that should be a victory. And it just isn't.
Here's a real high-class bout. And begin.
So yeah, if it was to just say at the point that I died there, you can continue, but you lose a ranking, you lose 1,000 points, or you can end and you can keep your experience and increase your damage. Like, this game really does scream for just an easy mod. Like, just, I know kind of in the same way that, like, I probably would have enjoyed Dark Souls, the one Dark Souls game that I played a little bit of, if there was some way to be a little bit more kind with it and not be so incredibly frustrating or so grindy. Honestly, I think the Dark Souls game I played was more kind of grindy than actual challenge, even, because it definitely felt like in Dark Souls more than this, since it had experience and level ups. There was a lot of opportunity to potentially just attack the same people over and over again. Also, Dark Souls had the problem of you losing all of your experience if you didn't go back and fetch it. So an easy mod for something like that is actually fairly obvious, where if you just never lost your souls. And I'll fully admit that some of this probably is the arthritis in my hands. Like, ever since that has started happening and gotten worse, I have noticed that there's a lack of speed, a lack of nuance, and just a general lack of ability. I think we'll give this one more chance and then let's go check out the other ones. But I can kind of guarantee you, I've seen all these bosses. I know none of them get any easier. They get longer, they get more complicated, and without at least an increase on the charge gauge of your attacks, your super attacks, or an increase on your health, or an increase on damage, which I don't think there is an item that increases damage, you are more than likely doomed. To maybe beat one more boss, only to find that then the next boss is just as difficult, if not more difficult. So let's try this flying one. This is so you can do this now, and you can drop bombs on him, but you can kind of see that the bombs are not inherently doing massive amounts of damage, and they do require you to get in really close.
This round will get red hot. And begin.
Alright, so we want to kind of fly around, I guess, would be my guess, and try to avoid them throwing items at me, or flying up and down is probably a better mechanic. But we are very much getting into the territory of a bullet hell shooter, and I've never liked bullet hell shooters as far as games. They seem always too difficult and brutal for no reason. And there's something to like the roguelites in comparison. For instance, like The Binding of Isaac is a great example of that, or Rogue Legacy is a good example of that. So you have to hit him in the face. Thought maybe you could hit him in the hand too. But it's still super easy to just crash into something. Rogue Legacy, you get slightly stronger each time. Binding of Isaac, as long as you've done something and unlocked some little bit of something, you're getting stronger each time, or at least you're getting possibly a little bit better at the game, or just maybe even a little bit luckier at the game. Right, so the top and the bottom aren't a problem. shrinking down doesn't seem like that's helping a lot. If anything, it's hurting. Alright. And super bomb. And that got me to the halfway point.
A great slam and then some. You're up.
See, this puts me in a weird position because I'm having this thought of potentially trying to play a lot of this off screen and giving it maybe an extra day. But then my thought process there is, what am I going to really end up saying is I'll probably more than likely come back with just an addendum to a video, whether it's the addendum to this video or the addendum to a different video. Where I simply say, okay, I tried and I didn't get any further than what you saw, and I probably will have gotten a little bit further if I just spend a couple hours on each character. And I feel like the game probably does have a good chance of me being able to see the third world. Now, what's kind of interesting about this effect, I would say, is specifically the fact that it's not really, it's not really doing a visual effect that you would actually, I think, be able to do in the era that it's trying to depict. There we go. Like, I don't think you could do a 3D image like that unless you were filming a 3D model and then had a camera on a rail, and the cameras are so big I don't think you could do something like that and then animate on top of that through double exposures. Yeah, I'm not sure if there's any example of anything like that actually happening. That is much more an example of someone trying to show off their modern day programming skills and teach themselves modern day programming skills than actually
This match will get red hot. Here goes.
So this guy's a nightmare because there's all of these things and he's gonna try and run you over. So that gets me down to 1 HP. And then you've got the second phase where he turns into a big old clown. And that was a dog balloon head that was pink. If I get this on like a fairly, oops, horizontal only. They said horizontal only. Nice, it still didn't do that. See, that got me nearly 2/3 of the way done. So there's little pink ducks, and we want to hit those, but I think you can really only hit them once. And this would be a potential place where it would be good to like lock yourself down but I don't have a control that actually works well for that. I'm just gonna go ahead and hold on to my super attack until he shows up, and then I'm gonna do this as a first attack. And let's see how close that really got us.
A great slam and then stop. Now go.
I guess if they're spinning, they're safe. Which, I guess in general, the idea here is to clear the airway. These guys do seem to go straight and not really chase after you so much, so they're fairly safe. Yeah, it kind of feels like if you could parry after a supercharge, you should gain back a health at that point, because that would still be a fairly hard thing to pull off, and it wouldn't be something that most people could do. Alright, no. I guess the trick on that third phase, and this is where checkpointing would certainly help, is if there was more checkpointing going on after each phase, where you could just reset and say, hey, that's it. I screwed that up. Yeah, if getting to this point lets you reset at this point, or you have to go to the menu and check, even if there was kind of a minimalistic, you only get 3 restarts or three lives on a checkpoint, and you have to reach the first checkpoint for that to matter. That would still be something slightly different, a little bit easier. And you're in this weird position where either you pay attention to where your life is, which you really shouldn't do because it's in the wrong place. It really should be somewhere indicated on his outfit. Like if he had different buttons on his like pants or shirt or something, that might work. Or maybe you have a straw and have the three red lines on the straw disappear. I'm going to, like, seriously, it really is not giving you enough time. And he does a little honk when he's about to attack. You have basically nothing to do for that second, which and I feel like you should always be practicing your parries. Okay, I'm gonna stand in the middle, I'm gonna hide down here, and then I'm going to choose to do this. I'm gonna immediately get hit again. Yeah. So with enough struggle I could do that, sure. With enough struggle I could do that one, sure. Let's see where else we can go. We have a shop here, and I don't believe the shop changes in any way. So it is just the same thing. Long range with below average damage, 3 extra hit points. Lightly weakens your attack point power when you use it, so it's not actually something you would want to use. Short range, great damage if you keep your character close. Not take damage during a dash, that might be useful. Plus it doesn't have any negative effects, where the extra heart actually does seem like it has negative effects, which seems just like a general just kicking the balls. I can't describe it as anything else. Instead of actually helping the player, it's like, no, this actually won't help the player. So have you spoken with the Quadratus, the watery being across the aisle? That is something few others can claim. Then you have a dragon over here. And you have over here another path that is blocked. And then you have over here another path that's blocked. So you are kind of gated in such a way that even beating that one flying section only gets you to this. And I'm sure the first one was the easy one. And it will only get harder. And the trick here is you want to just be kind of all around. Come on. Introducing a new kind of ghost is gonna be a nightmare. Come on. And it's just like one hit, too. It's not like where this should be like 3 hits, like all the other sections. This is, you've got to get every single parry right. You can definitely feel that this was the main gameplay mechanic they wanted you to get really good at. And while I wouldn't say I'm particularly terrible at it, I also wouldn't say that I am probably ever going to be such an expert at it that it is going to be doable. So you have to be in the air to hit a ghost and parry on it, which means if they are coming downward close to this section, your odds are lower of being able to pull it off. I would say this does seem to be fairly randomized. They've just potentially limited the number of enemies on screen at one time and limited the speed at which they move and the variety of them. It feels like there should just be a timer. Like you should have like 5 seconds of help of them trying to open the jar. Although, who knows what the ghosts are even really going to do. And yeah, shooting them doesn't work. I could see if you had a lot more of these sections where like I could see that becoming a way to have some falling action to recover from your finger being sore. Oh, seriously, I was probably 2 away. Yeah. If there was a mausoleum right after every single fighting section, then that would give you an excuse to let your finger rest. It definitely doesn't feel like there's a secret passage anywhere. The next run and gun, which we have not gotten a single run and gun to work, is behind a fight. The run and gun on this side is behind a fight. So it does leave you pretty much locked into defeating one of these 2 characters if you want to go any further. Let's see. 72 times I've died. I jumped from 52 to 72 in less than an hour. And you definitely can see that's where that's going to go more and more. And then you have to load, which honestly there's no reason for there to actually be a load between these different sections. So I wanted to test something here. Do we have the ability to now swap weapons? Yes. So if you wanted to try and do this, it might work a little bit better. Maybe. But also your super attack might work a little bit better. So that's something, is that, yeah, the upgrade does work in the flying sections, and we do now have a super attack, but a super attack wouldn't really help you get any of these run and gun levels done any better. Let's see. Because even if I was to make it as far, this is probably a great point. Let's see. If I was to exit to the map now, you're not going to get to keep the coin. Yeah, that's fairly obvious. I could see having an extra life to do the run and guns. That way you can just clear a path and not particularly die. And yeah, I may have gotten a little bit better here. But then they also throw in some of these like blue enemies that aren't anything. And they stay kind of alive forever. So let's see. Let's see. We're getting bombed by acorns now. Here we go. Come on. And fire. And you would have thought that would have been the end. Unfortunately, nope. So, yeah. I was at the very edge of the end. So, I have gotten better. That's true. So I'm gonna, I think, play this game a little bit and see if we can defeat the bosses, get the running guns, maybe open up some options by collecting more coins to actually purchase some things. Otherwise, I'm just gonna come back and we're gonna have an addendum, and then that will just be an addendum that says, yeah, this is probably what, as far as I can get with Cuphead. I bought this game knowing that there was a high chance that my fingers would just not cooperate with a game like this. I tend not to want to play games on super hard difficulty modes, and the game has really failed to allow you to play it on an easier mode. It definitely needs an update, an easy mode, a cheater mode, whatever you want to call it. Something so that a significantly higher portion of players can actually get through at least half of the content. The sad truth is about half of all players don't make it to the end of almost any game. I wouldn't be surprised if the number of players in this case are exactly shorter. In fact, I don't even have to guess, because I bet this game has achievements. And I bet there's an achievement that tells you exactly the percentage on Steam of people who have beaten the final boss. Yes, I have quite a few of them. I've gotten achievements that 40.1% of the people have done, which is getting the extra special move. And then defeating every boss in Inkwell 2, only 30% of players did that. Defeating every boss in Inkwell Isle level 3, only 18.9% of players have done that. Completing the casino drops it down to 15%. Completing the game on normal drops it down to 13.8%. Getting every coin in every in all the levels is 10%. Let's see, what else can we say? Obtaining an A rank on Inkwell Isle 1 on every boss. Let's see, or higher is 5.6%. That's not surprising. Getting the pacifist achievement, only 3% of people have done that. I don't know if that means you have to get pacifist on all the running guns. Completing the game on expert is 1.6%. And at that level, yeah, I definitely know I'm not going to get all the achievements in this game. Also, I would say, of all the games that have achievements, this is probably one of the ones that motivates me the least to actually try and get them all, considering how it is already selling itself as a super difficult game. It would be very interesting to see an alternate reality where this game came out and it was just average difficulty or even simplistic difficulty. It probably would sell a little bit more. It probably would have a lot more hype around it nowadays. It would be very hard, I think, to sell Cuphead 2, as it were, because so many people who bought Cuphead 1 potentially had to struggle through it. There would be a rabid niche fan base that would love a Cuphead 2 that was even more difficult or just as difficult as Cuphead 1. But I think the broad appeal will be almost completely dried up in a sequel to this game, just by the fact that its simple modes are still not really simple enough to reach the standards of what you expect from a modern game, which modern games are supposed to be dumbed down. That's just the new standard, whether you like it or not. That they are supposed to be that I take on a boss once and beat them. And in all fairness, I might, in that scenario, beat this game. If it had a super easy mode, I might beat a game like this in 3 or 4 hours. On the other hand, I've been playing 2 hours and about 20 minutes, and I'm kind of at a frustration rage quit point for most players. Like, I knew what I was getting into, so I have a little bit of a endurance against that, but not a lot, frankly. I could see a lot of people, if they didn't know what this was, rage quitting and getting a refund in less than 2 hours because of its high difficulty level. Unfortunately, that's all that really centers around the game too, is it has really interesting graphics that get way overshadowed by the high difficulty level. It has some interesting boss fight mechanics that get forgotten as soon as you're done with that specific boss, and are once again overshadowed by the fact that they're too difficult. And it has great music that once again gets overshadowed by the difficulty. Like, too much focus on a challenge, it can be a problem. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. I'm going to try and play off screen. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.